Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a question that looks like it defies the laws of physics, but in reality, it's the perfect way to understand them.
I mean, you've seen this a million times, right? Birds just chilling on a high voltage power line, not a care in the world. So how come they're totally fine when we all know those wires are incredibly dangerous? Well, the answer to that little mystery, it actually unlocks the most basic rules of electricity and, more importantly, how to stay safe around it.
And let's be real, the stakes here are life and death. I mean, look at this chart from OSHA. It doesn't take much. We're talking about just 50 milliamps. That's 50 thousandths of an amp, and that can be enough to stop someone from breathing. Your average wall outlet? It's got way, way more than enough power to be deadly.
So you see, figuring out this bird puzzle isn't just for fun. It's actually a crash course in electrical safety. Once you understand why that bird is safe, you'll understand exactly what you need to do to avoid becoming a tragic accident yourself.
Okay, let's get into it. To really get what's going on with that bird on the wire, we've got to learn to speak electricity's language. It all comes down to three key ideas. Get these, and I promise the rest just clicks. First things first, let's talk about the circuit. This is the big one. For electricity to do anything, it needs a complete path, a closed loop. It has to go from the source, through whatever it's powering, say a light bulb, and then all the way back to where it started. You break that path anywhere, that's an open circuit, and boom, everything stops. All right, next up, voltage and current. The best way to think about this is with a water hose. Super simple. Voltage is the pressure building up in the hose. It's all that potential energy just waiting. Current, that's what we measure in amps, is the actual flow of water when you squeeze the handle. See? You gotta have that pressure, the voltage, to get any flow or current. And the last piece of the puzzle is resistance. We measure that in ohms. Sticking with our hose analogy, resistance is like putting a kink in the hose or pinching it. It slows down the flow. Some stuff, like copper, has almost no resistance, which is why we use it for wires. It's a great conductor. Other things, like rubber, have a ton of resistance. They're great insulators. Okay, now this is the golden rule, the one thing you have to remember. Electricity wants one thing and one thing only, to get to the ground. That's its final destination. And to get there, it is always going to take the easiest route possible, the path of least resistance. And here's the scary part. Since our bodies are mostly water, sometimes we're that easy path.
Okay, so this is where things get really cool. It turns out that how you lay out the path, the circuit, totally changes the rules of the game. We're going to look at the two main ways to do it, series circuits and parallel circuits.
So, on the left, we've got a series circuit. Think of it like a one-lane road. The electricity has only one way to go, so it has to pass through every single component one after the other. But on the right, you've got a parallel circuit. That's more like a four-lane superhighway. The current gets to the fork and splits up, with some of it going down each lane all at the same time.
And here's the part that messes with your head a little bit. In that series circuit, that one-lane road, adding another light bulb is like adding another toll booth. The total resistance goes up. But in the parallel circuit, adding another light bulb is like opening up a whole new lane on the highway. It actually makes it easier for electricity to flow, so the total resistance goes down.
Yeah, I know, it sounds totally backward, but the highway analogy makes perfect sense, right? Opening another lane doesn't cause more traffic, it eases it. The more paths you have, the less overall resistance there is. And this is why you really need to get this. Think about that power strip you have under your desk. That's a parallel circuit. Every single thing you plug into it, your computer, your monitor, your phone charger, you're adding another lane. That lowers the total resistance, which makes the whole strip pull more and more current from the wall. You add too many lanes, pull too much current, and those wires can overheat and, well, you could start a fire. All right, so we have all the clues. We know about circuits, voltage, current, and resistance. And we know that golden rule about electricity always looking for the easiest path to the ground. It's time. Let's solve this mystery. Okay, reason number one, the bird is safe. It's not completing a circuit. It's just sitting there on one wire. It isn't offering the electricity a new path anywhere, especially not to the ground. For that electricity, the copper wire is a freshly paved superhighway. The bird's body, that's like a muddy, bumpy back road with a bridge out sign. Why would the electricity ever take that route? It just stays on the highway. Reason number two is all about voltage. Remember how voltage is like electrical pressure? Well, because the bird's feet are so close together on that one wire, they're both feeling pretty much the exact same amount of pressure.
There's almost no difference in voltage between one foot and the other.
And that brings us to the final critical piece of the puzzle. Electricity doesn't flow just because there's a lot of voltage. It flows because there's a difference in voltage from one point to another. It's like a perfectly level canal. The water might be deep, but it's not going anywhere. You have to have a slope, a difference in height, for the water to flow. Since there's no real voltage slope between the bird's feet, the current just doesn't move through its body. It has no reason to.
And that's the whole thing. The bird is totally safe because it doesn't check any of the boxes for getting a shock. It's not a good path to the ground, and there's no voltage difference to give the electricity a push through its body. So the current just ignores it. It keeps on flowing right through the wire.
But this also explains why things sometimes go tragically wrong. If a big bird, like an eagle, stretches its wings and touches two different wires at the same time, or touches a wire and the metal utility pole, suddenly the game changes. It instantly creates a path. It completes the circuit. And now there's a huge voltage difference across its body. That's when the bird gets electrocuted. So you see, it's not magic, it's just physics. And these exact same rules that keep the birds safe are the very foundation of electrical safety for us. The goal is always the same. Make sure your body never, ever becomes that easy path to the ground. You know, in professional settings, they take this stuff so seriously, they have a system called lockout/tagout. Before a technician even touches a piece of machinery, they shut off the power, and then they literally put their own personal padlock on the switch. They also hang a tag that says, "Hey, I'm working on this." That way, there's just no way someone can accidentally turn the power back on while they're in there. Okay, and if you're ever in a situation where someone is getting shocked, your first instinct has to be to protect yourself. I know it's hard, but if you touch them, the electricity is just going to flow right through you too. You have to resist that urge. Never touch them directly. Your first job is to kill the power. Find the breaker, pull the plug, do whatever you can. And if you can't do that, find something that doesn't conduct electricity, like a dry wooden broom, and use it to push them away from the source. Look, at the end of the day, the best way to stay safe is just to prevent accidents in the first place. And every single safety rule is based on the physics we just talked about. Stay dry, because water lowers your body's resistance. Take off metal jewelry. It's a great conductor. You don't want that. Use tools with rubber handles. That's your insulation. It all comes back to that one single goal. Do everything you can to make sure you are not the path of least resistance. So, I'll just leave you with this thought. We all learn to respect fire, right? You can see it, you can feel its heat, it's obvious. But electricity, it's invisible, it's silent, you can't smell it. Yet, it is every bit as powerful and dangerous. The first step to being safe is understanding how it works so you can finally give this invisible force the kind of respect it absolutely demands.